Hello, nonprofit leaders. I'm Sarah Olivieri, your host, and this podcast is here to assist people like you, executive directors, board members, and other nonprofit leaders make a bigger impact with insights, tips, and lessons learned from nonprofit leaders and experts. Having been an executive director, a board member, and now a consultant and coach, I truly understand the challenges you face. And that's why I'm here. I'm all about working smarter, not harder, so you can make a bigger impact without the burnout. And so is our sponsor, DonorBox. DonorBox isn't just a suite of helpful fundraising tools, it's a partner that helps you raise more money and supports you in retaining your donors. I love their forward-thinking approach. Visit donorbox.org to learn more. And don't forget to sign up for the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership newsletter, where you'll get bite-sized, actionable tips just for nonprofit leaders like you, delivered weekly to your inbox. Sign up at inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up. Okay, let's dive into today's episode. You are in the right place if you've ever dealt with a nonprofit budget, either as a staff member or a board member. And today I want to talk about making a reality out of your board not approving your budget. Whenever I talk about this, I get a lot of like, ooh, and wouldn't that be interesting? Is that possible? And ultimately, oh my God, that is a really good idea. Maybe you have experienced some of the pain of having a budget that didn't get approved, or trying to design a budget that could get approved, or feeling constrained by your budget when you had to change course suddenly. So let's dive into this quick training. What does it really mean to approve a budget? What does that mean anyway? I asked this when I was on a board. I've been on several boards, and I've been an executive director multiple times, as well as a number of other roles in nonprofits. And I began to ask myself, well, when we approve this budget as a board, what are we approving? Are we approving the bottom line? Are we approving categories of expenses? Are we approving individual expenses? And I realized that this question actually was not really clear and hadn't been that well defined often on that particular board where I was asking that question, and on many boards since. You see, the thing is, budgets are really just financial plans. They're a bit of forecasting and a bit of decision making. How do we want to invest our money? What do we think will happen as a result? So whether or not a plan is approved or not doesn't necessarily mean it was a good plan, although ideally I think the thinking behind why we think approving the budget sounds like a good idea is we think that it will have more accountability. But there's a trick here is whenever as boards we approve something, it actually means that as a board, we are deciding what something will be. So when we approve a budget as a board, we are deciding what the budget should be. Certainly, often our staff has put the initial groundwork into preparing the budget and they have recommended something. But at the end of the day, the board is approving, and therefore the board is deciding on the budget. Who double checks the board? Who provides oversight for the board? Nobody. The IRS provides some oversight, but mostly they're interested in making sure that you're not essentially skipping out on any taxes that you should owe. But when the staff makes a decision, if a CEO makes a decision, then we can have the board provide oversight. We can have the board double check the decision. So if the staff approve the budget, if the staff decide what the financial plan should be, and the board double checks it, then we have oversight. Then we have accountability. So we actually have more accountability if the board doesn't approve the budget, as opposed to when the board does approve the budget. So, what do we need to do instead? And what do we do, right? What do we do if the board's not approving the budget? The board should look at the budget. The board should ask questions about the budget. And the board should take a vote to confirm, to say, yes, we looked at a budget. We had our questions satisfied at or answered satisfactorily. But the budget then is no longer something that the staff is waiting for the board to approve, right? You will never have staff saying, oh, now the budget hasn't been approved and now I have to operate without an approved budget. We never have. And here's a really big one, folks. Listen up, because I've worked with a lot of executive directors. And when boards approve budgets, executive directors and their leadership teams, when they create the financial plan, they're not 100% thinking, what is the best financial plan for this organization? They are always thinking, what is the compromise between the best financial plan for this organization and what I think I can get my board to approve? They're sacrificing what's in best interest for the organization for what they think they can get their board to approve, because the board isn't really in a good position to create a budget that is in the best interest of the organization, or to even necessarily know when they see a budget that is the best version of a budget that could be in the best interest of the organization. So when boards have to approve budgets, we get this compromise in the plan, which is not good for the organization. So when boards stop approving the budget, when boards instead confirm that they've had a good old look at it, then we get executive directors saying, what is the best possible way we could spend our money? And they stop worrying about how to get the board to agree that that was the best plan. And boards start asking more engaging questions about the plan, because it's actually a lot of pressure for board members to approve the budget, because it's actually not clear what exactly they're approving. And that's a big decision that they don't really have the information, the total picture, right? Because they're not involved in the day-to-day. Some people, and I'll tell you a real story of a real organization that did this. STN, there's a case study about them at the Pivot Ground website. Happy to send you the link if you're interested. Just let me know in the comments. They made this change. And they went from their board struggling to approve the budget, getting in the weeds around specific things in the budget, and kind of feeling disengaged and frustrated around the budget. When they switched to the model where the board just confirmed that they'd looked at it and the executive director didn't have to create a budget that they had to convince the board of approving or design for the board to approve, the executive director made a better budget, and their financial health has gone up, 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 up since they've done that. And the board started to become more engaged in the finances. So we actually got more accountability. We got more engagement. Is there still room to grow? Absolutely. But it was a huge unlock for them. All right. So we have talked about the problems of the reality of a board approving the budget. And we've talked a little bit about what to do instead, this concept of confirming the budget. The big difference between approving the budget and confirming the budget is the budget can be decided, the budget can be changed, the budget can be modified, the plan, you can always have a financial plan. You don't have to wait for the board to say, yes, go, right? But we are always looking for the board to say, what's the current financial plan? Have we seen it, right? Does it make sense to us? Like, let's monitor it and let's periodically vote to say, to confirm that we all looked at it, we had our questions answered, and we had that opportunity. Many people, just one last side note, is many people ask me, oh, but aren't we required to have our budget approved in order to receive certain grants? What those folks are looking for is that confirmation. They want to make sure that the board has looked and thoroughly considered the budget. So for the purposes of grants, a confirmation vote is certainly going to work. And if you needed to make an approval vote just to satisfy in a grant, you could do that. It wouldn't be a big deal, but that's not going to be overall how you operate holding up the budget. That's all I have today. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. If you love tips like these, I deliver tips like these via email as the host of the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership newsletter, and you can access that at inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up. Until next time, all the best.
You've been listening to Inspired Nonprofit Leadership. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode or the bonus episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share with your friends and colleagues. Tune in every week for more useful insights and wisdom on nonprofit leadership. Thanks so much for all you do for the communities you serve. Until next time, all the best.